I would step back, bang, like that. If I cock my hand back like that and then punch, that's information. And you know, you don't see snakes doing that. You know, you might see them very like shift into here, but when they're ready to strike, bam, like that. And they go so fast, their opponent or their victim doesn't have any time to react. All right, morning guys, I hope you're doing well today. Thank you for tuning in, really appreciate it. Shout out to all the subscribers as always, and thank you very much to anybody new, welcome along. In this video, I'm gonna teach you, the beginner, how you should think and try to punch like a snake. I know it sounds a little out there, but just hear me out, because if you look at snakes, typically, you know, the poisonous, venomous ones that are basically ready to do damage, there's little to no movement, right? And I'll bring up a clip as well to show you. I'm sure you're fully aware just how fast snakes strike. But it's not the speed that I'm so focusing on, right? It's how little movement they make, right? When they actually are ready to strike. Yeah, they're hissing their tongue a little bit, right? But their head is dead still, right? And they're just like this because they don't want to give any information away. Information meaning, like, and this is how you relate it to boxing, right? You know, or striking in general. Information is me either lifting up like that and then punching, right? I'm gonna zoom in a minute to really show you, because I know the light's a bit dark right now. It's still 6 something in the morning, so I'm gonna be doing these morning sessions. I'm gonna be putting a bit more effort and thought into the whole thing. I wanted to do it, you know, 1 or 2 every morning, so you guys can get the consistency and hopefully have like a morning session yourself. But onto the snake, right? If you look, oh yeah, the information, right? Okay, so if I cock my hand back like that and then punch, that's information. As you know, anyone that watches boxing, you'll hear the commentators say data, right? This is data. Everything's data. When your opponent's studying you, that's all data. So if I pull this back and shoot, it's gonna give them more data to react, right? If I'm here like this, and I don't give them any data and shoot, that's like punching like a snake, because snakes don't give any data at all. They're right here, right? And then boom, they just go for the kill. And they're so fast. And that's how you should think about striking, right? Certain punches are gonna be more suited to that, like the straights, right? Like a left hook like that. I don't wanna give any data around, like that, strike. And now you're not gonna get the most perfect technique when you're compromising a bit of speed and you know, punch tails and stuff. You can, but I'm just saying, like, you'd be surprised how quickly you can land these shots when you don't open up, use punch tails. I'll make a separate video on a punch tail, because it is the same thing essentially. Punch tail is just another word for saying telegraphing your punches, right? If I'm coming at you like this and I'm loading up the massive right hand like this and I'm gonna throw it, I mean, you can see all over my face, all over my body, my shape, everything is like letting you know I'm about to punch. And then think of it like this, right here, like that, right? That's punching like a snake. Now, the punch tails come in a lot of different fashions. I will do a separate video, as I said, but I was in the gym the other day, I pulled the clip up, and one of my clients and friend, Jeff, right, instead of moving his hand like that, he actually moved his body forward, right? That's it, nice and relaxed, beautiful. Ding it, don't lean in, you know, you're showing it a little bit, right? You're basically telling me, I'm about to throw this right hand. And he leant forward just slightly, and I could see it, and I told him, I was like, bro, I can tell. You might as well be telling me you're gonna throw a punch, because you're leaning forward like that, and then punching. He was like just doing this and then doing that, right? It's not the easiest shot to see because it's from the side, but you know, that's another no-no. And you know, you don't see snakes doing that. You know, you might see them very like shift into here, but when they're ready to strike, bam, like that. And they go so fast, their opponent or their victim doesn't have any time to react. That's how you should think about striking. You know, not every single punch, you know, there's definitely a rhyme and a reason for a lot of different punches, but generally speaking, if you don't want your opponent to know that you're punching, don't move around so much, especially the hand, especially when you're about to punch. I can move like this, right, and my head can be here, and then I can just creep in, boom, like that. That's punching like a snake. And, you know, we should always draw inspiration from, you know, it's going to sound a bit weird, like the animal kingdom, insects, you know, because they have taught themselves to be on defense and fight and do the best that they can for goodness knows how many centuries, every single day, all day, right? If you think about it. And now there's a quote from Roy Jones Jr. that I just found fascinating. He was asked, what would you do from the ground up to a fighter? And he was like, well, find out exactly who they are and what they are. If they're tall and rangy, get them to study a praying mantis. Praying mantis, obviously, I think it's an insect, right? Very formidable insect with these big paws. And he's like, you know, praying mantises fight like that. They use their advantages. But my point is, you know, they've been fighting all day, every day, and they figured out ways and what to do and how to do it. So I'm saying snakes, we should summon some knowledge and wisdom from how they attack, because they are the most fearsome, fastest strikers in the whole kingdom, right? So yeah, just a quick one today. I'm going to be putting a lot more quick videos up. I hope you enjoyed it. My name is Henry. I teach beginners boxing, but I also teach up, you know, a high level of punching. That's my main passion. I absolutely love it, and I try to bring it to you guys, but you know, in a beginner fashion. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself, but bear with me. I'll always come back to the beginners and try to make it make sense for you, because you know, there's stuff on here that will be really advantageous for you to understand. Let me actually, just before I do go, let me just show you how you can practice this. What I would do is you get in your stance, right? Take a step, and when your feet set, and make sure they are set, this is really important, because you need the ground for the maneuver to really happen, right? To have any kind of real impact. So I would step back, bang, like that. Step here, boom. Step, boom. Step, boom. So you're really working on your striking, but more importantly, you're working on the speed and the connection from your feet with the ground, right? But as I said, make sure your feet are set. If your feet aren't set properly, it's gonna mess up all the punches. This is not necessarily a beginner drill, but you could certainly practice it and maybe get the grips of this quick striking and connecting your feet and your hands. You know, I know as this channel grows and people that have been watching these videos are gonna get better and better, so it's a good time to challenge yourself a little bit, you know? You can go in any direction too, right? From here, step in here, bam, step, boom. Step, step, pivot, sorry, pivot, step. So the same rules apply when I'm stepping. I'm not giving any information away. I'm shooting it as quick as I can, as fast as I can, as straight as I can, without any movement. Thanks for watching.